If you told me two CYO kids from Long Island would still be brothers 45 years later, that one of them will become the unofficial voice of the '85 Villanova Wildcats, the other would be sitting here hosting a show called Back to Class, we probably would have laughed you out of the gym. But here we are. He's never gotten too big to remember where he came from. He's always been the guy you call when you need a hand, a favor, a door opened. My friend, my rival, my brother for 45 years, Chuck Everson. Chuck,
How are you? Good to see you, Kenny.
good to see you, buddy. You're the man.
Yep.
Chuck is one of a kind. He's not one of my former students, but I've known Chuck since fourth grade. We were
right.
CYO rivals, and we had both had pretty good teams, so we used to go back and forth pretty good. We had some good players on those teams, too, and went all the way through high school, and we scrimmaged a few times. Never played in a regular season game, but if we had beaten Whitman in the playoffs, we would have played you, and you guys lost overtime? Or
Basically at the buzzer.
yeah, at the
Yeah.
buzzer,
Yeah.
and they went on to win the state.
They went on, yeah.
So we lost by 7, which was a nice win for moral
Well,
but
before we start, I have to say, anybody who is a student of yours or played for you probably doesn't know this, but Kenny Hanlon was one of the best shooters probably ever. As when we were playing against kids, we always had a game plan for Kenny because he could really fill it up. So I know he wouldn't say that to you guys, but for those of you that played for Coach Hanlon, he really could shoot the ball.
Well, they don't know me as that. They know me as the old guy who bends over and shows the crack of his butt as his pants are falling down. But thanks for the kind words, Chuck. All right, so we're going to talk about a lot of different things. What does
Okay.
life look like for Chuck Everson today?
Life's good. I mean, everything's good. I've got my family's great. My daughter who played at Sachem High School and then went on to play at Bryant. She's a doctor. She's a psychologist. So she's helping people. She's working with some athletes. So she's doing a lot of cool things. My son now is in a startup company.
Nice.
So and my wife is doing her stuff.
Your son is going to hit it big.
He
he's
goes where the
unorthodox.
wind takes him.
He's
You know that.
unorthodox, but he's going to put his iron in the right fire one day.
I hope
and
so.
He's got that personality where
Yep.
people want to be around him and everything else. All right, you built something really cool with Big East Rewind. It's a podcast talking everything Big East, and
Yeah.
it's really grown and grown tremendously. When did you realize you're building a community there?
I still didn't realize, and now that I'm building a community, but I will tell you how it started. I went on a show called The Hoya Locker Room with Gene Smith, and he brought in Billy Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So Billy and I played together at Staten Island in the USBL. So I knew Billy a little bit, and it was the first time that the Georgetown players and the Villanova players sat down and talked about '85.
At the Hatfields and McCoys,
Like
right?
the Hatfields and McCoys,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I could do this for Villanova, but another Long Islander, Jason Frazier, had that role. So I didn't want to step on Jason. Jason's a great guy.
He's an assistant coach, right? And
He's an assistant coach in
In-
Sacramento. He's not the Kings. He's University of Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Mike Bibby's the head coach.
Yes.
You know who the general manager is for their team?
No.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh my gosh.
He's handling all the cash.
Really?
What a good guy to handle the money for the NIL.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the guy you want. You know?
I talk about Shaq all the time when I used to teach entrepreneurship, and I love the story of the Ring camera where
Yeah.
he had a mansion in Georgia, and he got an estimate for an alarm company, came and gave him a $70,000 estimate, and he goes to the Home Depot, he sees a Ring camera, buys it, $199, installs it himself.
Yep.
And then he calls the CEO, I want to work with you. I think that's how he does a lot of his business deals.
Everything he does, he uses himself.
Yeah.
That's
Like, how does he get involved with the general insurance? When he was a dumb college kid, he couldn't get insurance. The
Right.
general gave him insurance. So
exactly.
now he owns the company. It's
So he's in cartoons with the general.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's amazing. Chuck, you just dropped some names. You're a national champion. You've met icons. You've met Reagan, Ali, Pete Rose. He's the life this guy has led is just amazing. And You've interviewed icons. You've interviewed so many Hall of Famers with Big East Rewind. How the hell do you still remain to be Chuck Everson, the same guy you grew up with on Long Island? Like, I've seen no change in you at all.
Well, thanks. I
Not,
appreciate
and
you
not in a
saying that.
bad way. I mean, no,
Yeah.
all good. I mean, you're the man. But how do you stay grounded?
I think a lot of that came from my mom and dad and Coach Massimino, and frankly, my wife Kathy's mom and dad too. So I've had a lot of good people around me, a lot of great role models. Hungry and humble is what Jay Wright says all the time, and we all live that, even if you're not playing anymore. We all live by the mantra that they use at Villanova, and
Yeah, well, talk about a family and guys that stick together. I mean, 40 or 45 years later, they're still joined by that special night. But it wasn't a night; that night was a culmination of what you guys must have been building along the way, which we'll talk about in a couple seconds. All right, let's go back to CYO. What do you remember about any of those games?
I remember. You want to hear something funny on that team that we had? I don't know if you
I
realize this.
remember a lot of those players.
Okay. Davey Martinez, who
Uh-huh.
won 2 World Series rings
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the Chicago
Yeah, it was
Cubs,
a bench
and
player on that team.
yep, he's
Crazy.
the bench coach for the Cubs when they broke the curse,
Uh-huh.
and he won one as the main manager for Washington.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So he's a Brentwood guy, and then he moved down to Florida so he can work on his baseball skills. How'd that work out for him, right?
Not
That's
bad.
pretty good,
Not
pretty
bad.
good.
Good move.
So,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Brentwood guys definitely stick together. They had a whole crew of big men that came. Mitch Kupchak started it. You followed it up, and
Mhm.
there were guys after you that have gone on to do great things. So there is definitely a tradition that Chuck's a tradition guy. He if Brentwood calls or Villanova calls, he is there with flags waving like he is the go-to guy. He's amazing. So you have a really great role with both of those groups.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's a fun ride, man. And if you can enjoy where you've been and your history and all that kind of stuff, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm the guy that keeps everybody together because I had so much fun at those places. I don't really want it to stop.
Yeah,
That it's all for selfish reasons. Let
yeah,
anybody
yeah,
think anything different.
yeah.
I mean, especially with the Villanova guys. I mean, if we lost that game, I'm telling you, you can ask anybody. Everybody will
We'll
tell
still
you
be together.
we would still be together. Like, if people tell me, "Well, you won, that bonded you." Yeah, it did, but not really.
Yeah,
I mean, the game was great. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't change a thing. But, it wasn't no one if you asked anybody on that team, tell me the score of the St. John's Villanova, no one could tell you.
yeah, yeah.
But I could tell you what happened on the bus ride to St. John's. I could
Well,
tell you
that
about
that's
the locker
that's
room.
the thing. Chuck would put these Facebook posts up there, and I think it was one of the anniversaries, and he talked about a game where Dwayne McClain was like faking losing hands, and then at the end just nails everybody, and just the stories you had that you never forget. That's so true. That's what I missed about college sports was not the game itself. I missed the busting each other's chops in the locker room, talking mother jokes and everything else,
Yeah.
and making fun of your
Well,
girlfriend.
that
And
stuff doesn't stop
yeah,
because I talked to those guys. I've talked to Mark Plansky and Wyatt Maker yesterday,
yeah,
and today I'll probably talk to Gary or Dwayne, and then I'll, talk to Eddie. So it's different guys every day, pretty
mhm,
much. So during the week, I may talk to 5 or 6 of them, so
that's
it's
amazing.
and we instantly get reverted back to being a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Mark Plansky and I were on the phone today, and within 10 seconds, we're laughing at each
yeah,
other, and
yeah,
he's ripping on me, I'm
yeah.
ripping on him, and, it's that's just
Keeps you young too.
that's why we do what we do,
Yeah,
really.
gives you a purpose. If you have nothing to look forward to, those phone calls, those meetings. Oh, I'm gonna see the guys in another 3 weeks. That's what keeps you going at our
Yeah,
advanced stage.
yeah,
Uh, you go to Nova.
yeah.
First impression, the basketball side of it.
The basketball side of it was I wasn't ready for what I was about to get into.
Well, no one is.
Mentally, physically. I mean, I still grew 2 inches while I was at Nova. I went in at 6'10" and came out at 7 foot. So, And then there was a guy there named John Pannone that liked to kick everybody's fanny. So, I mean, he
6'9" and nasty.
yeah, nasty. I mean, but like it was the greatest lesson I ever learned, Ken.
Oh,
Because
nobody uses body better.
well, not only that, but like it was one of those 3-hour grueling practices, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm exhausted trying to keep up with him and Michael Mulquin and Ed Pinkney,
Yeah.
you know. And I took a whack and I hit him in the arm. So he turns around and plants one right in my chest. So I spin him around and I'm like, okay, I lost my mind for a second.
Yeah.
I'm totally
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Rolly comes in, grabs me, and starts pushing me back before we started throwing punches.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What the hell are you doing? He's gonna kill you." And I had that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
thank you.
Okay. So John beat the crap out of me the rest of the practice. Go down to the locker room. He's the captain. He's the senior. I got to go apologize.
Yeah.
So I shake his hand. I go, "Hey, John, I'm really sorry. It got the better of me today. I was just, you know." He goes, "Yeah, don't worry about it." He goes, "We had a pizza parlor underneath our dorm. I'll meet you at the whatever it was called."
Yeah.
So we go in there. He buys pizza and a couple of sodas.
Yeah.
And he sits down and has a chat with me. He says, "Listen, when we're here, we're brothers. We're, you know,
Yeah.
everything's good. No problems. You step over the line, it's back on again. I'm
Yeah.
going to kick the shit out of you tomorrow too.
Yeah.
And the next day and the next day."
Yeah.
And I said, you know, that is the greatest lesson that, you know, hey, what's on there happens there, happens there. When you're off, you're here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's.
One of the best lessons I've ever taught.
I'm not going to compare my experience to yours. Mine was Division III, but we had like a suite. We had 3 guys, and there were 2 other guys I was competing with for starting position. We're all shooting for the small forward, big guard position, and there was one opening, and we lived together, and we would
That's
literally
worst.
come to blows at practice, and we were able to put that aside and be best friends.
Yeah.
And we never ever couple of times drunk. "Hey, you're not that, you know," but for the majority of it, it was such a learning lesson to be on your own and just figure it out. Like, you know, that we both want the same thing. He's 6'6", all state from Jersey. He's probably going to get it, but I'm not going to let it get it easy.
Right, of course. Yeah.
And he's going to respect me the harder I make.
Well, that happened with Wyatt Maker and myself
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know Wyatt.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've been around him. I mean, he and I are still best friends today. I talk to him all the time. We go on vacation together.
Yeah.
His wife and I and my wife. And you know, it's the first guy you see when you wake up. It's the first guy the last guy you see when you go to bed. You eat, sleep, shower, everything with the guy. It got to be too much.
Yeah.
Because if I was having a good day, I couldn't talk about it with him.
Yeah.
Because he was then having a
recipient
bad
of it.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, so
Sneaking off the cold
so
dad.
one day,
Adam got any more time.
one day we had a few soda wars, you know,
Yeah.
and somebody had swords in their room, and we're like 2 7-foot pirates going down the hallway like this, and we had a guy that played lacrosse at Chaminade, like it's Keith, I can't think of his last name, and he grabbed his lacrosse stick and started beating the crap out of us with his lacrosse stick. Like, "What are you doing?" Meanwhile, I got a scar on my hand that I still have today, you know, on this hand right here. So, yeah, so, you know, and I told my daughter when she went away, don't room with a teammate, you know,
Yeah.
keep it
Great advice.
keep it separate, you know.
Let's go back to Villanova.
Yeah.
You guys were special. What made that team so special? Did you know you guys were special?
Did I know we were special? Not yet. But here's what makes that team special. I've never been around 14 guys that was so in tune we can communicate without saying anything. Like, if you were at a party or you were someplace and somebody came over and started, and the guy looks at you, I know what they're thinking. I know what to say to get rid of that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'll give you one better. Gary McLean came out to Long Island not that long ago. And I said, take over the practice. I'll be your assistant. You take over my team for the night, you know? So he's doing his thing, and he just looked at me, and I knew when to jump in and what to say, and how to say it.
Yeah.
You know, even in the fine art of ball breaking, okay?
Yeah.
So we had a thing where Gary was going to, he wanted to sing the national anthem, or he wasn't going to go to the 30th reunion. So I don't say nothing to Plansky or to Brian Harrington. And Jason Donnelly was Jay's right-hand man.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Oh, we got a problem." I said, "Yeah, we got a problem, man. Jay, he wants to sing the national anthem." So Mark jumps in. He goes, "He sings like a bird. Have you ever heard him sing?" And he had no idea what I was doing. And Brian was like, "Yeah, whose idea was that? That's a great idea. He'd be awesome."
Yeah.
And then they wound up getting the president of the school to sing. They didn't let him sing.
Oh.
But they knew exactly. And it's still to this day when we get around people or where, it's
Well,
still to
I've
this
seen
day.
it.
And on the court, it goes without saying.
I've seen it. I used to have a burger place, and Chuck actually brought a few of his teammates there, which he never even had to do. He's just a great guy. In fact,
And we did a commercial, one of my favorite commercials,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
The Wildcat.
Yeah,
burger.
we'll have to. I forgot. We have to embed part of that video into this video. Yeah.
The Wildcat burger.
Chuck is the only person.
One take we did it in.
One take and
Well, I did it in one take.
reverse pivot. That was
The
your line.
reverse pivot, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Chuck is the only one to have a burger named after him, the Wildcat Burger. And he came in and brought his rings in, and let's just say I dressed up in a retro outfit that didn't exactly fit me too well.
No.
So that we got a lot of play out of that. And the guy who made that video for me was a former teacher I used to teach with. That was like his Gone with the Wind. It was like an 8-minute video.
I know.
He had the highlights put in, and
He had the game.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll put it up on my social. It's if I find it, it's really, really cool. What's biggest misconception about the Villanova team?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that.
That's why I go to chat.
Yeah, that's good. The biggest misconception, I think, was a lot of people say that it was a big upset.
Yeah, you weren't good.
But we didn't feel that way.
When you matched up, man.
We lost 10 games. 5 of them were to the number 1 or number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
We always beat Georgetown once a year. We knew we could play with them. We weren't in fear or in awe of the Hoya paranoia mystique.
Well, I think a lot of the NCAA tournament, like a team like New Mexico, never gone up against those guys. They hear about them, then they see them in person for the first time. They're changing their diapers the first 10 minutes of the game.
Not even close.
You guys are like, all right.
Well, we've been in the kitchen.
Patrick's gonna goaltend the first 3 shots.
Oh yeah,
and he's gonna.
If you get like they used to run a 1-3-1 full court trap.
Yeah.
If you get past Gene Smith, who's one of the best defenders ever to play,
You have a
Big
2-on-1.
and you get by Reggie Williams and Billy Martin.
Yeah.
You got Patrick waiting for you in the back.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do with that?
I know. 2-on-1. Yeah.
He's erasing everything. So it's and we've actually put some stuff in the parking lot of the Ramada Inn the morning of the game. We changed our full court out of bounds play.
Press break. Yeah.
Yeah, so press break. So what happened was we were going 4 across, right? Then Dwayne McClain would run out of bounds.
Yeah.
We would hit him and then cut in, and they'd be like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
They didn't know.
They're waiting for the whistle.
First of all, half of our guys didn't know you could throw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
But so it worked. Coach Mass and Mitch Bonagiro did that in the parking lot of the Ramada Inn.
Mitch Bonagiro scared.
We went high class, man. The Ramada Inn we stayed at. It was crazy.
Well, think about today versus the $billion industry it is today compared to, and what would have happened with NIL, and could you even kept that team together? Eddie Pickney probably would have been.
It's funny because
who would have left? I don't.
Well,
would have left.
It's different. No, I don't think it would have. But like this is something I talked about on the show with some people because the guys that won in 16 and 18 we're close with.
Yeah.
So I said to somebody, I said, well, what would Jalen Brunson do? He came in with all these accolades. He gets there and he's sitting behind Ryan Arcidiacono. They get to the NBA and Ryan Arcidiacono's sitting in the last seat on the bench.
Can't hold his bed.
But he's a great player.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So would he have jumped in the portal and then none of this would have happened?
Who knows?
You don't know. So it's too easy to kind of give up and things get tough. That's what builds character. We're talking about you being in the classroom and being a teacher, and I'm sure you've taught this lesson. The true character of a person comes out during times of adversity when the ball is not going your way. It's not going in the back. How are you going to act and behave then? It's easy to be the nice guy when the ball's going in the basket.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do when you can't make a shot? You look at this kid, R.J. Lewis, that was with St. John's last year.
Mhm.
Rick could not put him in the game
Yeah.
because he had a meltdown
Yeah.
because he's never had that happen to him
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So he failed the test.
He's never
as far
allowed
as
to
I'm
work
concerned.
himself out of it. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think so many parents want to shield those kids from those moments when those are the moments that scar you, but that scar tissue is what you need to succeed in life.
Yeah,
You know, it's incredible.
I agree.
40 years later, what are some of the things you carry with you from 1985?
Um, the lessons that and the friendships that I've had, the lessons that we learned from Coach Mass every day, he would sit down and talk about what was going on in the news and how it would affect you and how it affects other things. Remember who you are and who you represent.
Well, that's the thing.
Wow.
People, Villanova, national champion, big, big footprint in college basketball. Really a small school.
Right. No one knew who we were until after April 1st.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then enrollment, boom, went through
Yeah.
the roof.
Sure.
And then again, we got a booster shot in 16 and 18 with
Mhm.
those guys. But really, the friendships and the relationships, especially with Coach Mass. Coach Mass, everybody knows he's your coach.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he's there for.
Yeah.
But that was only this much
Yeah.
of the relationship,
Yeah.
and really, it was all the other stuff.
Well, I just thought he was a blast. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
knew.
you wouldn't think he was a blast if he had you in
When I
and you just screwed up practice.
as a
for him.
camper going
Yeah.
there, knowing I'm never going to play for this guy, but I would love to play for a guy like that.
Yeah.
who's
That's exactly
honest,
what
tells-
my mentality was when I went there. I was the first one to sign. It was 5 of us. It was R.C. Massimino,
Uh,
Dwight Wilbur, Harold Presley, who was all everything,
yeah, sure.
Wyatt Maker, and myself. And they told us that they were either going to take me or Wyatt. They would never take both.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Whoever signs first, I said, put the paper down, I'll sign it now.
Yeah.
So Mitch Bonagurls, Paul Comer was Wyatt's guy.
Yeah.
He goes, we got to call Wyatt. I said, no, you don't. You said, whoever signs first. So give me the pen. I'll sign it right now.
Yeah.
And they called Wyatt, and it worked out great because we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
And back then, I mean, if Wyatt went somewhere, I was right with him. If
Yeah.
I went somewhere, he was right with me.
Yeah. That's definitely 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, a very big pod. There.
Yeah. Big pod. Yeah. Wyatt's 6'11", so he's nothing to sneeze at. All right, Chuck. You're all about loyalty, team integrity. What do you say to the young kids out there? How do they use that to sort of make that a central part of their lives?
Well, I mean, as far as basketball goes, go to where they love you, not where they like you. Okay, that's the first thing. And then when it comes to the loyalty and respect, I mean, you just treat people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
And things seem to work out. Don't get too high and don't get too low about things. It'll work out. You just gotta be patient. Not everything is going to go your way. And I think guys and girls of this generation never really got those lessons, Ken.
Yeah.
Because mom and dad made everything good.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad gave them, if it wasn't going, I got you. Well, mom and dad are not always going to be there to get you. You have to get you.
I remember, this is a funny story. I went to Catholic school through 8th grade. 9th grade, I go to public school, and we do wrestling in gym.
Yeah.
Mr. Futterman, my phys ed teacher, says, you'd be a good wrestler. So I come home, my dad. Dad, Mr. Futterman says I'll be a good wrestler. There's a tournament this weekend. You're not a wrestler. You're a basketball player. You're an idiot,
Yeah.
Shut up. You're not a wrestler. What do you know? So next day, you talk to your dad? My dad, you want me to call your dad? No, I'll talk to my dad again. Mr. Futterman really, okay, you want to go to the wrestling match? Okay. So we drive to Kings Park, and everyone's in their underwear, which freaks me out to begin with. Like, everyone's weighing themselves. I'm self-conscious, right? So I'm wrestling the guy in my weight, but he's a foot shorter.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to kick this guy's ass. Like, I'm just going to give him one of these, and
That's going to be it.
in 15 seconds, I got my leg behind my ear, my face nurse was across. This guy's got me, my shoulder's about to become separated. And I look up in the stands, and I've never seen my father happier in his life. He's, look, he's looking at me with this big smile on his face. And I'm like, you're not going to come down and kick his ass for me, Dad?
No.
No. The whole way home, you moron. You. But guess
told
what?
you.
I never wrestled.
Well, that's a lesson learned right there,
Yeah.
Ken. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about. It's about life lessons. And the more you fail and make mistakes, the more you learn and get better.
Yeah. Like even, with podcasting, I'm sure. I know I have some horrible text stories. And I'm sure
we've had a few.
You had some. So
How about this? We had Brian Mahoney on, the coach of St. John's.
Great guy.
So we went to tape the show, and he can't get his camera to work. He can't figure it out.
Uh-huh.
I'm going, Coach, you do this. No, Chuck, I'm doing it. It's not working.
Yeah.
I said, do you have a grandchild maybe that could help you with it? So he says, all right, we called it for the night. 3 days later, his granddaughter, Cameron, who's 13, is there. She goes, Chuck, I already fixed the problem. I said, what was the problem, Cam? He had the cover over his lens cap. You got to bring the cover up, Coach. So, I mean, yeah. So there's things like that happen all the time.
45 years. That's a lifetime of friendship. What I love most about Chuck isn't the basketball stories, the interviews, or the Villanova memories. It's that through every chapter, success, hardship, glory, reinvention, he stayed grounded. He stayed loyal. He stayed the guy who made everyone around him feel like family. And if there's one lesson in that, it's that character lasts a lot longer than talent.